second. Good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday. We are having a lo-fi in the background of Blood and Beans today. I just felt that, I don't know, horror backgrounds are nice. I like horror beats, but, you know, this works. It's a chill Sunday morning. I like Sunday mornings. Don't get me wrong, I like Saturdays probably the best. Fridays are fun, but Fridays I'm up real late working on stuff for the YouTube channel. Saturdays filled with a bunch of errand running in the morning, which is fine. I'm getting rid of the garbage in the house, and we're doing stuff, and things are getting done. And it's good to be productive on the other end of my life. Work, and then, you know, the flip side of that.
Errands. And today is
Saturday night, it's great. It's the premiere. Usually in the afternoon to evening, I get to sit down, play a game, and then usually after the premiere, I sit down and I'll play Mario Kart. Wife actually joined us last night, and it was actually a lot of fun. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
I miss my motion controls.
I'll get you a controller where you can use motion control. In fact, I can have you use the,
Way better.
I can just have you use the Joy-Con. Turn it sideways. It's going to be tiny, but you have tiny hands, so.
Very strong little fingers.
It's true.
Be careful.
She gives leg massages and it hurts, so she doesn't know the strength of her hands. It's like being massaged by a vice grip.
It gets your blood flowing to your freaking ankles. That when
Good
you
morning,
wear
Manny.
socks, they
How are you?
swell up.
For the lo-fi in the background, I do have it probably turned up a little loud on my end anyway. I'll throw my PC speakers, so I'll turn it down so you're not getting echo. But
Echo.
if the music ends up being too loud, just let me know. Or if it's too quiet. I almost feel like it's too quiet on your end. I'm looking at the sound levels.
Oh, excuse me.
It's not quite matching up to what I want it to be. So maybe about there.
I was smart and stuff putting my
If it's too loud, let me know. Oh, my wife was kind enough to make me coffee today. I needed it. I woke up with such a sore throat.
And eggs.
Yeah, and eggs. The eggs that were good, I didn't need those. Those weren't. I wasn't desperate for eggs, but I was desperate for a hot cup of coffee. Throat was killing me.
Made from the kettle.
I like Corey Feldman. He's pretty cool. He was Tommy Jarvis, and Corey Haim. He was in a lot of those movies that I really didn't watch in the 80s.
You're marching on the ground.
So, I don't know. There we go. Microphone's back. So anyways, Corey Feldman. I feel he's pretty cool. He was in Friday the 13th Part 4. He was Tommy Jarvis. He was also a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in the original 1990 movie. Actually, no, he was Donatello.
I thought it was Mikey.
No. And Corey Haim, he was in a lot of those movies I did not watch in the 80s because they weren't horror enough for me. Now I watch, you know, all kinds of movies and whatnot. And yes, I realized Corey Haim was in, like, The Lost Boys and shit like that. Again, didn't really see that, though, when I was younger.
Wow.
Not when I was younger.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of slasher flicks. That's how I know all these slasher movies, and I have since expanded my horizons, now that I'm older, and I just watch all different kinds of horror, but all different kinds of movies, period.
Well, I put different kinds of movies on all the time.
But, you know, the reason why I know the slasher genre so freaking well is because I studied it when I was growing up.
Anger. You watch a slasher film after a hard day of work.
No. Not usually. So there's a lot of different outlets. I'm not saying that's not one of them. Maybe it was a hard day of school. I watched a slasher movie. But now I come home, all right.
Picturing all the kids.
I'll take a shower. Showers are nice. Love showers.
I'm taking a bath first. Haha, I get that one.
Lost Boys was pretty good. I don't really have thoughts on Mark Wahlberg. I know who he is.
I like The Lost Boys. Mark Wahlberg should have stayed in singing. the Planet of the Apes movie that he did, I do not even recognize.
Watching slasher flicks can be therapeutic. I agree.
That's what I just said.
I know. She was agreeing with you. And I'm also agreeing. Yeah.
Fuzzy
I agree.
Kitty.
But, you know, the good ones. Most good slashers, are victims first. Now, Chrome Skull and Art the Clown have broken this trope. They don't have backstories to make you feel bad for the killer. Which I kind of like that. Hannibal Lecter used to be like that, and then they completely changed his origin and everything. So he was a victim too. Like, I don't know. You could leave it without them being a victim as well.
He had to eat his sister.
But like The Rise of Leslie Vernon, that's another really good movie. That's a slasher flick. It's different. I like the fact that it's a slasher flick, but it's different.
What are you doing? I have a big fuzzy
Good stuff.
on my lap.
So the slasher is my favorite subgenre of my favorite genre,
You're so heavy.
which is horror. Big fan of the slasher movie. Oh, we're having a Discord party, and I'll mention this again next week too. But not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday after. We're having a Discord party where we'll be watching The Terrifier and The Terrifier 2. Because my buddy Sean A has yet to watch either of those movies, and he's not a huge fan of slashers, but I really think he's going to like these movies. And honestly, like, I don't know, if you don't like Art the Clown, then you just don't like slashers, period, and that's fine.
Like
he's not a big fan of slashers, so, but yeah, Pockets isn't a big fan of slashers, and she loves the Terrifier movies. So we're gonna play a game with them. Every time you laugh, you have to take a drink. No alcohol is not required. I'm not making people drink. If you choose to, that's fine. But I find those movies hilarious.
I laughed through the whole movie.
So it's going to be very interesting.
We're gonna have to pour you into this.
But like I said, not next Saturday, but the Saturday after, and it takes place after the premiere. On my channel, so it'll be like 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then we're going to watch those two movies. And if anybody is still standing at the end of those two movies, because Somber hasn't seen it, we're going to watch Fight Club, which I know is a little bit, off the realm of Art the Clown, but Somber needs to watch Fight Club. I agree, Emily. And a lot of them get a bad rap, like the Slumber Party Massacre, which I still stand by the fact that that's a fantastic movie. The first one's really good. The other ones were kind of dumb. And the Cheerleader Massacre, I don't know if anybody has seen that or not, but half of the movie is Slumber Party Massacre. They literally took scenes from Slumber Party Massacre, like half of the movie, like the girl running through the high school and through the locker room and the killer's chasing her. That's from Slumber Party Massacre. It's not like a new actress just recreating the scene. They literally cut the scene out of Slumber Party Massacre and put it in Cheerleader Massacre. Now, I'm pretty sure that the guy who made the Cheerleader Massacre is the same guy who made the Slumber Party Massacre movies. So I don't know if you can steal from yourself, but that is a cheap fucking way to make a movie.
It's like writing yourself into the script.
It's like taking one of my stories, taking 2 pages out of the middle and writing a new beginning and a new end and just being like, yeah, there. New story. But it's not a new story. It's the same fucking story, just with a new beginning and a new end. And they did that. It wasn't just that scene. Like, they did that shit a lot in that movie. So, I don't know. That seems a little cheap to me. But the original Slumber Party Massacre is a good movie. It's got a good story behind it. They don't tell you a whole lot about the killer, and you really don't even see him until, towards the very end. And he doesn't look like a monster. It's a dude that escaped from an insane asylum.
I've been in one of those, and I'm sorry, we're normally more well kept.
I think it is the same guy. I watched a documentary about that entire franchise once a while back. I can send it to you if you want. Thank you. Actually, I would appreciate that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it is the same guy that made both movies. And it's fine. Like, I get it. You made it so you can do what you want. But you shouldn't be repurposing entire, like, and not even just a scene, but like entire sequences and putting them into another movie. Like, and I get, like, if you haven't seen Slumber Party Massacre, like, you might just think, like, wow, I don't know why, but, like, the film quality, the grain on this is completely different than the scene that was before this. Like, did they start using 70s equipment to film this scene? Like, you might not realize it except for the drop in, like, you know, video quality or something like that. But for someone like me, who has seen the Slumber Party Massacre, and I've seen it more than once. I have it on tape. I used to watch it all the time. I watched it every single October. It's actually one of my, not like top 10 or anything, but definitely one of my more favorite slasher movies. It's good. The first one's a really good movie. And I've seen it so many times, it's almost like you expect me not to notice that? Like, you just tried to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, and you tried to pull a fast one on me as well. But see, I'm too smart. Like, I've seen the original movie so many times, and now I can't. It completely pulled me out of that movie. Because I'm like, wait a minute, he cut this together with Slumber Party Massacre. And the movie itself, to me, at that point was lost. Whether it's a B movie, cheesy movie, good story, bad story, I don't care if the cinematography in it and the acting was top notch. Once you start splicing it together with other movies that I've seen, like religiously, it kills it for me. It pulls me right out of the experience. And I feel insulted because you tried to pull a fast one over me. Oh, I'm not going to record this scene with new actors. I'm just going to take this other movie that hardly anybody's ever seen. Fuck you, buddy. I've seen it. Hey, Sabian, you ever seen the 1988 horror movie Cheerleader Camp? Nope, I have not. I didn't even see Sleepaway Camp for the longest time. Not until I got older. Because, again, I was more interested in things like Freddy, Jason, Hellraiser, you know, Child's Play, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, the big hitters with, you know, 12 sequels. I didn't even watch Sleepaway Camp because, you know, I saw that there was, you know, oh, there's a girl's carrying a backpack with a hockey mask and a Freddy glove. I knew it was a spoof. I knew it was probably going to be a bit cheesy. Why watch a movie that's spoofing Friday the 13th when I could just go watch Friday the 13th? So I would do that. And then when I got older, I went back and watched the Slumber Party, or the Sleepaway Camps. And let me tell you something, I've fallen in love with those movies. I love those movies. The first one's good. And I get, like, if you don't see the ending coming, how shocking the ending can be. But really the rest of the movie is just a solid slasher movie with decent kills. There's not a whole lot that separates it from other movies of its time, other good movies, which is good. It stands right up there with, like, Friday the 13th and stuff like the original Friday the 13th and stuff like that. And the kills look great. I love when the guy got the boiling water dumped all over him and his skin started bubbling and shit and blisters were forming. Like, man, they did that scene really well. And it's all latex effects, obviously. There's no computer generation. That's back when shit looked, like, good and, like, visually disturbing. The end of it, again, if you didn't see it coming, but that was really the hook of the movie. Slumber Party Massacre, or not Slumber Party, Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3 are my favorites in the series. And my absolute favorite is the second one. I absolutely love Sleepaway Camp 2. Angela Baker kills more people in that movie than Freddy Krueger kills in his entire movie franchise. Just in one movie. And this girl's running around a camp with a stick, and she kills more people than Freddy kills in his entire movie franchise. Good morning, Lilith. How are we? Happy Sunday. I love that song. Shiloh and I sing the Happy Camper song, Pockets 2, every single summer when we're going for hikes in the woods or we're going camping at Locust Lake. Oh, I'm a happy camper. Like, it's funny. And yes, we also know all the words.
And the hand gestures.
And the hand gestures. We do. It's I don't know, funny, adorable. unsettling. I don't know. Could be I described it a whole bunch of ways, but yeah. Sleepaway camps are great. I love them. And part 4, I like that they brought Felicia Rose back. She was the little girl killer in the first movie. She played Angela. So they actually brought the original actress from the original movie. Pamela Springsteen.
She's my favorite.
Played Angela Baker in part 2 and part 3. And she knocked it out of the fucking park.
She did.
She really did. She had the great personality for it. She's upbeat. She's killing people with a smile. Like,
what are you doing? I'm looking for a drill.
Movies, they're good. I love Pamela Springsteen's Angela Baker. I like her better than Felicia Rose's Baker, but that's not saying I don't like Felicia Rose's Angela Baker. And Felicia Rose does a whole lot of other stuff in horror movies and stuff now too, still to this day. Like, she's really big into horror. So, a lot of respect for Felicia Rose. She does a fantastic job, but as good as she does, that just goes to show you how much I absolutely love Pamela Springsteen's Angela Baker. Because it takes it from perfection and ups it a notch to more than the sum of its parts perfection. She was the perfect Angela Baker.
Your feet are cold.
Maybe skip. I didn't skip anything. There was Sleepaway Camp 1, and then there's Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, which are basically one long movie. They actually started shooting Sleepaway Camp 3 while shooting Sleepaway Camp 2. Like, halfway through shooting Sleepaway Camp 2, they were filming scenes for the third one. So when they finished up wrapping up the third one, they already had like half the movie done. Or for the second one, they already had half of the third one done. It's actually how there's a fourth one, which is stupid. And again, remember that whole thing I was saying about just cutting in scenes from old movies to fill up runtime and just not filming a whole lot of new stuff? Well, Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor, was a movie that the director was working on, but then he didn't get it, he didn't get approval for it. He only had filmed a few scenes, like 15 minutes worth of footage for it. Eventually, it got leaked online, and fans have since gone back and filled in those sequences, like the in-between what he filmed, it with clips and bits from the other Sleepaway camps. So it's Angela Baker, the whole movie, sitting on a raft, having flashbacks of all of everything that she did. And then at the end of the movie, there's like a quick 10-minute, really cheesy chase sequence that doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's the end of Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. I consider that a fan film, because it's not a finished movie. Sorry, I don't consider that one. Now, Return to Sleepaway Camp. That's what I meant by the fourth one. That's the true fourth movie in the series. Your ass stinks! I like that they brought it back to Camp Arawak, which was the movie in the camp in the first movie. I like how they got Felicia Rose back. They got the guy who played the camp counselor in the first movie. They got him back to play the camp director. And her brother, Ronnie. Ronnie's the camp director. What was her brother's name? I can't remember. It was Mitch or something. I can't remember what it was, but her brother from the first movie, who they never said if he died or not, because the other camp director from the first movie beat the shit out of him so bad he was like laying there unconscious. I don't think they really like went into detail whether or not he lived, but he was actually in the fourth one, and they brought him back. So you finally get to see the interaction with him and Angela, who were basically raised as brother and sister, and you haven't seen them together on screen. The original actors, no, mind you, for the first time since the first movie. That to me was worth the entire thing. The rest of the movie could have been shit. Just having those two actors on screen in character, fucking 35 some odd years later, thank you. That was awesome. Good morning, Somber. Yeah, we're talking about sleepaway camps. Ricky, thank you. It was. Thank you. That's why I was like, is it Ronnie? Because no, Ronnie was the guy, the camp counselor. And he was the guy who becomes the director in part 4. Comes back as the director in part 4. Yes, it was Ricky. Thank you very much, Emily. It was Ricky. Ricky and Angela. Yeah. Yeah, who knows? Somber just kind of walked in saying no. I have no idea why. And yes, I know you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen Robin Hood Men in Tights and you haven't seen Fight Club, then yeah, there's no way you've seen the Sleepaway Camp movies.
Is a must-see. Anything Mel Brooks is a must-see. Silent Movie, Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein.
I also feel the Sleepaway Camps are a must-see. I was missing something when I was a child, goddammit.
You beat up or out?
Oh yeah, no, I did, absolutely. I mean, we take them. I got the box set.
Ouch.
At least of the first 3. It didn't come with the 4th one because when I got the box set, it wasn't out yet. There was no 4th one. But I do have the 4th one on the shelf right with the box set, so I have all 4. But I do bring the box set with me. It says Camp Survival Kit on it. And it's got like, which comes with like a little book and fucking like with little history notes and stuff like that and pictures of the films in it. And, all 3 of the DVDs. And I like that they actually like took the time to put those movies together in a really sweet little like collector's box set looking thing. Like, I appreciate that. I do, especially with a movie like Sleepaway Camp. You would expect that kind of treatment from like maybe something that's a little bit more well known. Sleepaway Camp very much has just like a cult following, or at least it used to be. They got popular on it as the years went on. But those are examples of movies that weren't very popular when they came out. Barely anybody knew of them at all.
And now they're legends.
And after, like, in the late 90s to early 2000s, I guess they really gained popularity.
Now they're cult classics.
Yeah, now they're considered cult classics.
I follow up on this shit.
That's just, that's an instance right there of the community going back and taking a look at something that is a little bit more obscure. And that's what happens when they find something that's a little bit more obscure and it's a gem.
I believe Rotten Tomatoes.
It's like a gem in the rough. Then you'll see this thing gain a cult following like 20 years later once everybody goes back and decides to give this obscure piece of media a chance.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes gives it like an 85% thing.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell a lot about a person by the movies they watch unless you're analyzing Somber. And I don't know. Because if people are judging me by the movies that I watch,
ouch.
Like, and there are people that have. This is actually why I wear a mask. It's why I have a fake name. I have an alias, and my alias has an alias. And it's why people in real life, like people where I work, they have no idea that this exists. I keep them very separate.
Ooh.
Because I've seen instances of people that like horror having people like, not psychoanalyze them, but like try to and pass judgment. Oh, you watch a lot of slasher movies, you must be a psycho. And deep down, yeah, I am. But not really anymore, not in a way that affects anything in the outside world. I just like slasher movies. I like horror. I used to like being scared. Now I don't get scared by them, but I appreciate all the latex effects and stuff. Like, I'll look at that and be like, oh man, they did a really good job with that. Or wow, that looked really cool. Like, I know it's all fake. That's why I can't watch real shit. I cannot sit down and watch Faces of Death. I've seen one of them once, and that is it. And I'll never have a desire to watch any other of those movies ever again. I've seen doctor shows, people like having surgery done and shit. I can't watch them. I can't. It bothers me. That grosses me out. Fake stuff? Horror? No. But, so, they keep things separate because most people don't really get that. I've seen horror fans, or even creators, attacked. Verbally, physically attacked. Judged. Because they're a fan of horror. I've heard of people losing their jobs because of their like of horror and then putting it on their social media. I just think it's better to be safe. I don't think psychoanalysis over movies is justified. I don't.
Yeah, that's why he's in the ocean.
Maybe some genres. Like, obviously, like anything to do with little people that I don't really want to see on YouTube because I'll get flagged. Or porn addicts. Or I don't know. I guess maybe if someone, even if someone sat down though and watched like romance movies, like those Lifetime movies all the time, I still wouldn't go judging them. You can't, because there could be a million reasons why those are their favorite types of movies. Could be because of who they are. Could be they remind them of their mother because their mom used to watch those movies all the time. There's a million reasons. I don't feel psychoanalysis over what movies that you choose to intake is valid.
She never missed an episode.
Good morning, Fuzzy. How are you? Happy Sunday. Yeah, I grew up in an era where the cult classic just became so classic for me. The same with Maniac Cop. I fucking love Maniac Cop. Fuck yeah, Bruce Campbell. He was in the first one. And the second one's not too bad either. But I love the first Maniac Cop movie. I used to watch that movie all the time with my parents when I was like 5 years old. Fucking love Maniac Cop. And Psycho Cop as well. Not the first one, but the second one. When they're in the office building and having the party and stuff. That's a good fucking movie. And it's got tons of good gore in it. So both of those are fantastic killer cop movies. Just saying. And Blood and Honey is also going to be a cult classic. 100% agreed. I liked that movie. It was way better than I expected it to be. I'm not saying it was a great movie, but it was way better than I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be more like the Grinch movie. And I even enjoyed that. Mostly because David Howard Thornton was the Grinch and he just played the role so well. See, jump scares don't even get me anymore. Usually they're telegraphed and I can see them coming from like a mile away. I know all the tropes, look in the mirror, bend down, stand back up, there's something behind you in the mirror. I know, and then you're going to have the loud music cue. There's some things that will make me jump because they'll catch me off guard, which is good. They did a good job not telegraphing it. But 99% of the time, jump scares don't scare me anymore. I love books or action movies because it happens to be something that I enjoy. It's a way of alternate. That's like the difference between video games and movies. I've seen people and other people as well, like, they be like people looking down on them because they play video games all the time. They're not watching TV shows. They're not watching like the newest episode of The Bachelor or whatever. They're playing video games. And it's like, why do you enjoy playing video games? Well, honestly, if you think about it, a video game is an interactive movie. It's not just something that you stare at a screen and you watch. It's actually something where you have input. You can input what to do and have decision-making capabilities, which plays out on the screen before you. It's basically more of an interactive type of thing. Instead of passively imbibing media, you're actively imbibing it. And in that sense, video games, I would say, would probably be a little bit better for you than just sitting down and watching TV. But I could be wrong. Just saying. It could be, and it's nothing to look down on. But I've seen people ostracized for that too. Because they like video games. Don't understand. But I guess I do, because other people fear what they don't understand. That's a human thing. I don't get it. Why does this person like video games and doesn't watch TV? there must be something wrong with them.
Don't start to play.
This person likes horror and they don't like comedies. They don't like to laugh. They just like to watch blood and guts. There must be something wrong with them.
We get to watch Bad Batch.
Oh yeah, Bad Batch. That's right. Still have to watch
Did we
Bad
watch
Batch.
The Crossing? Episode 9?
I don't know. I'm trying to read comments. And no, I don't believe so. Maybe. We'll see, huh?
Okay. I just figured I'd look it up.
Lifetime. I don't know. Morning, Frank. How are you? I'm just saying, like, people are allowed to watch what they want to watch. It really doesn't bother me. And I say this a lot in my Discord as well. That I like when there's differences between people. I like it when everyone's not the same. I like it when people disagree. I'm not only okay with people disagreeing, I prefer it. I want people to disagree, and I want people to be okay with disagreeing. It's okay to agree to disagree. This is what I think, this is what you think, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That is where creativity blossoms.
Yep.
That's where new ideas get formed. That's where you can enforce someone and assure someone that it's okay to be themselves, and you can help someone grow and help them solidify who they are. There's a lot of good things that come out of that disparity between people. Everyone thinks it'd be better if everybody was like me, but I completely disagree with that. I like seeing different people. So, yeah, it's kinds of movies, kinds of music, video games or not, whatever, it's fine. I get to see a whole new perspective on life. And who knows, maybe I'll even learn something. I'm not afraid of learning either. Jump scares don't... Listen, I will say this one more time. Again, I've mentioned this before. There's horror. There's watching horror. There's playing horror games with jump scares, like the FNAF series on a computer. And then there's being placed inside of an experience in virtual reality. That's completely different. It's a completely different thing. When I watch horror, I don't really get jump scared. Jump scares, I see them telegraphed all the time with a VR headset on my face and earbuds in my ears and, actual stereoscopic movement, like where I can actually step and walk around and tilt my head, and it looks and feels and sounds like I am where this headset is telling me I am. Good VR tricks your brain. That's how you can tell if it's good or not. And things become more immersive. They trick your brain better if, like, the textures are really good and look realistic. Like, you could almost reach out and touch them. There's a texture there. There's a fuzz on the carpet. There's like, papers and empty soda cups that you can just pick up at random, and you can interact with things. That's how it tricks your brain into believing that this is a real environment. And that's scary. It's different than watching something on TV. So yes, I fully admit, I get jump scared in VR, 100%. Somber is still waiting for a game to come natively to the Quest, where I have to go deep underwater and have to, avoid some kind of large sea monster or something, because he knows I have a fear of the ocean, and he thinks it'll be fun to watch me react live, as I would stream this live if he did this, because I know everybody else would laugh. But for me, it's terrifying, because it's not watching it on TV, it's being there. And good VR will trick your brain, and most of the time, people put out some pretty decent fucking VR apps. And FNAF VR, let me tell you, out of like Red Matter's got really good textures. It looks really good and really realistic, and it's very immersive. Motor X, I believe is what it is. It's a tiny little, like an RC Pro-Am racing game where you can be inside the car. And that is, like, the textures on that, and the sound, the way the sound works on the left ear and the right ear, and how it's panoramic and goes around you, and you can tell which direction things are just by the sound they're coming from. It does a really good job at tricking your brain. FNAF VR, again, it's a game where they did a really, really good job making things look very realistic. Like they really are right there. And it's hard to really show that too, like when you're streaming, because you're watching it on a 2D screen. You're just watching my hands kind of float around in front of me in front of this FNAF game screen. It's much different being there in person. Way different. I need standalone leader. And it's not on Quest. Thank God. Nope. Resident Evil caught me off guard with snakes, period. No one told me there were snakes hiding in the item boxes. That freaked me the fuck out. I don't like virtual reality snakes because I'll react to them the same way I'll act to a snake in real life, not a snake on TV.
Yeah, he screams like sissy
That's
girl.
the difference between virtual reality and a video game. Flat screen gaming. Gaming is gaming. Watching a movie is watching a movie. Virtual reality is an experience. And that's another hard thing to like describe to people. Like you try and tell them about virtual reality, and show them pictures of it, and this is what it's like, or stream it to a TV. And you can't. There's no way to describe an experience. There just isn't. You have either tried VR and understand what I'm saying, or you haven't. And that's probably one thing I am so glad, the main reason I do not work in the VR industry, is trying to market something that you cannot explain to someone that they have to try themselves. Fuck that. That's the difference. So I encourage you, if you have never tried a virtual reality headset, I encourage you, if you have not tried one in a while either, because there's just been so many upgrades, you know, to the newer iterations of things, I highly encourage you just to give it a go. Oh, no worry, leader. Everyone gets busy, and these are the streams about nothing. This is me sitting around talking about whatever topics come to mind while I sit here and sip coffee and chill with my wife. Basically inviting you to my Sunday morning. But it is typically pretty laid back and nonsensical. Cleaning. Cleaning will come for me as well. I have cleaning I want to get done today too. First though, I gotta go run out to the post office and I know they're closed, but I'm gonna drop some stuff in the mail, and then I gotta go up to the store and get my wife's medication. Then I'll come home, probably take a quick shower and sweep, mop. That's what I do. I just want to get some things clean. The Pockets is looking at me like, why do you need to sweep and mop? I've been cleaning. Like, I know that. I'm not saying that the house isn't clean. It's just what I do. I'll probably vacuum the game room, like you said.
You should wash down the game room floor too, because it's sticky.
Oh, by the door? It's because I dumped orange juice in there.
Good job.
Thanks. To see how you...
We have cats.
Squeeze I want. Irritation you get with one part of the game. Most horror maps in VR chat, they're pretty good. But again, the textures and stuff aren't there. Usually the sound isn't quite on point as it is with some other experiences, like on apps you specifically download. So don't be surprised if it doesn't freak me out the way you might think. I don't really think I've been to one where it didn't even freak me out. There was no jump scares, but like there was an Egyptian pyramid hunting story, and like sounded cool in the description, like you were going to be Indiana Jones basically going through like the lost Egyptian pyramids and stuff. And like the first chapter of the game, like this giant pyramid just rises out of the ground. Like it's a distance away. Takes you a while to walk there, but it's so large, it's looming by the time it's done. And it's like that kind of presence in VR. That can be a little off-putting. It tended to, that unnerved me a bit. So some things, but not like jump scare-wise. At least not yet. So I'm interested to see what you have to show me. I am blaming the OJ for the room being sticky. It's not because I dumped anything else. It's not because I dumped my alcohol. I don't. Listen. All I do back there in the game room is play video games, or listen to music, and have a couple of drinks before bar night. So that's it. And it says the fam cave. Anybody else is allowed in there. Yeah, it's because of orange juice. I wanted some orange juice. We had some orange juice. I was playing a game, and I reached over to put out my cigarette. No. To put out my cigarette, and, oh. What happened to the music? Oh, no. Could always restart it. Must be in, like, one of those real quiet spots. Because it says it's still playing. But I'm not buying it. Don't care what you say. Does not sound like you're playing anything. There. Music. Oh, there's a clown. Yeah, I'm not too big of a fan of clowns. I mean, they don't scare me too much, but I don't know. Poltergeist kind of freaked me out when I was a kid. That fucking clown doll under the bed, that thing was freaky. It was. I did not like the stretchy arms.
I don't know. My first scary movie was Jaws, and I really haven't been afraid of anything since.
My first scary movie was An American Werewolf in London. That was my very first scary movie, and my parents actually had the tape, and I had watched it, like, not repeatedly, but like a few times with them, between the ages of 3 and 5. And then I saw Jaws. That movie freaked me out. I was little. You know, won an Academy Award for, like, that's transformation scene when he transformed into a werewolf. It won an Academy Award for special effects. Like, it looked really realistic, and, like, to a kid that young in that era of time when, you know, things didn't look that realistic, that freaked me out, like, big time. And I think that's actually how I got into horror. It's why I liked it. I knew everything, well, I didn't know everything, but I knew a lot about Jason before I ever saw a Friday the 13th movie. The kids in my school, when I was in, like, kindergarten and stuff, they would talk about Jason. Jason was, like, kind of like a fixture that just people talked about back then. Kind of like the Saw movies were when the Saw movies were coming out. Everybody just kind of knew Jason. And, you know, I'd hear things from them that weren't exactly true. And then, like, my cousin, he told me a lot about Jason because he was helping me make a costume that year. He was older than me. He was, like, 12, 13 years older than I was. I was really into those movies before I'd even seen one of them. It was just a much more pure time to live. I kind of miss the 80s. Just saying. You know, sometimes I'd be driving home from work. Of course, I listen to, like, classic rock on the radio. I just kind of think to myself, man, like, back then, in the 80s, where did I see myself? Where did I see my life? You know, how did I see life, period, back then? You know, and where am I now? I don't know, that dichotomy, that contrast is sometimes pretty enlightening. Saw is awesome. I would say
I like Saw.
The first one is awesome. I love the first one.
They played all of them.
The third one is
yesterday.
okay. It's okay. The third one is okay. The seventh one is okay. I like that they brought Dr. Gordon back, but that was really, like, the only good part of the movie. The rest of it was kind of lame. It was like every other Saw movie. I was not a big fan of Jigsaw, the 8th one. I didn't like that. Spiral I liked. A lot of people didn't like Spiral. I liked Spiral. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. I saw Chris Rock was going to be the main character and Samuel L. Jackson's in it. And in the previews, like, you want to play games, motherfucker? I'm tired of these motherfucking games in these motherfucking warehouses. Like, I was not expecting a whole lot from that movie. And it was way better than I thought it was going to be. And you know what? It was fucking different. It wasn't just like another Saw movie, like Part 4 and Part 5 and Part 6 were all just the same fucking movie over and over again. Even 7 was a lot like 4 through 6. They just brought back Dr. Gordon. Part 8 was okay, but I wasn't buying the storyline.
Sorry.
Jigsaw. I liked Spiral. Wasn't a big fan of Jigsaw. It was okay. I liked it. Let me put it this way. It was probably just as good as 7. It was on par with like the best ones that were the same thing. And this one really didn't do anything different except it wasn't in a warehouse. It was like in a fucking barn or something. Spiral was good because it was different. I liked it. And there was no John Kramer in it at all. I get the guy was wicked smart and he was an engineer and planned all these things out, but like, come on, dude. The guy's not a fucking Force ghost. He can't plan out fucking 20 years. I don't care how smart he is. If he was that smart, he wouldn't have been some engineer with a few fucking assets. The guy would have been Bill Gates. There's no fucking way. That's like the new Ant-Man movie where like his daughter just happened to build a quantum mapping machine in her bedroom after school in her spare time because that's what teenage daughters do. Fuck off. Not buying it. Sorry. I think the first 7 Saw movies and the first video game are cool. The second game... See, I wasn't fond of the second Saw movie. The one with them running around inside the fucking house. I didn't like that. 3 was okay. It was pretty good. 4 felt very fucking generic. It just felt like it was tunneled. Go from A to spot B to spot C to spot D. And then the 5th one came out and it was exactly like 4. Go from part 1A, part B, follow through this tunnel of events. And then the 6th one was the same exact thing. And the 7th one was the same exact thing except Dr. Gordon was in it. Just going through the same fucking tunnel of events. Very cookie cutter. I just didn't like the way they were set up. Especially, like, I could get if you liked Part 4, yeah, you're probably going to love 5, 6, and 7, because it's the same fucking movie. But I wasn't a big fan of Part 4, and so I was pretty disappointed that Part 5, Part 6, and Part 7 were just the same thing. The first Saw is the only one I saw, no pun intended. There will not be other parts in my future. The first one's great. Loved the first one. The first one was a fantastic movie. But everyone thinks like, and everyone looks back. It's like the same thing with horror movies, right? When they remake a movie, and they're not remaking the movie, they're remaking the stereotype of what everyone says about the movie. Like the Friday the 13th remake. Oh, the Friday the 13th were full of naked people and stupid people running upstairs when they should be running out the front door. That's a Scream quote, by the way. And so they make a movie where that happens, but that's not what the Friday the 13th were about. That's the stereotype that they had. That wasn't the actual movie. So they're remaking the stereotype, not the movie. It's the same way with, like, the Saw movies. The same way with the Saw series. They took, part 1 was really popular, everyone liked it. Let's make a part 2, gorier and bloodier. That's not what people liked about the first one. What people liked about the first one was that fucking reveal at the end where the guy on the fucking floor the entire time ended up being the actual fucking killer. And how he outsmarted these two people through the entire movie. Like, that was the good part, was that double twist. Where you saw a twist coming, and there was a twist. Oh, it's this guy. He knew him from the hospital. No, but the real twist is he's not actually the guy. He was set up the whole time, and the guy on the floor was the actual killer. The end. I loved it. That's why they didn't show what happened to Dr. Gordon. That's why they didn't show it until part 7. They didn't show what happened to Dr. Gordon in the first one, whether he lived or died, or because that wasn't the point of the movie. It didn't matter. That wasn't the point. I loved the first movie. In the second movie, in the third movie, in the fourth movie, it seemed like they built upon the things that were good because they were like other horror movies, but they didn't build upon what made the first one actually stand apart from other good horror movies. So again, do I appreciate the Saw movies? Yes. I appreciate what they did for the genre. They actually excited people, and there was a new one every year. It was like Friday the 13th was back, and there was a new sequel in your favorite horror franchise. Do I like them? No. I'm not a fan. I will not put on a Saw movie. I won't. You'll never see me be like, I think I'll watch Saw today and just put on a Saw movie. Pockets will, and I'll sit down and I'll watch it while it's on, because it's not horrible. But for me, it's like mac and cheese. It's very, very cookie cutter and very generic. And Nightmare on Elm Street are both two kings of the slasher movie. Freddy movie doesn't feel. There's more to that sentence. I know it's coming. Doesn't feel. Jason movie and vice versa for a video game. Example, Soul Calibur and Tekken are both in fighting, but playing Tekken doesn't feel like playing Soul Calibur. Exactly. You're right. It doesn't, because it's just a representation of what you know. It's not the actual thing that you know. It's just a representation of it. And that's what I think they did with the Saw series. Just like Hostel. Hostel was good. The first one, man, I fucking love the first one. Again, that's another one of like my top favorite horror movies. I love the first Hostel. The second one, man, was I disappointed. It had good moments, but beyond that, I didn't like the whole take. The third one, I liked probably about as good as the second one. And that one went straight to DVD. So I'm not a big fan of the other ones. You'll never see Sabian be like, let's put on Hostel 2, or let's put on Hostel 3. Now, Hostel, yeah, you'll see Sabian, let's watch Hostel. So I love the first one. First one's great. The Collector and the Collection, those are good movies. I agree. Those are good movies. Those are better than the Saw movies. And that's a fact. I love the Collector movies. Those are good. It's a new take. And the bad guy feels like an actual fucking threat. No, you're fine with the comments. I like the comments. Keep them rolling. I'm sorry for, if I'm reading them slow or whatever, but... Exactly my point, Lois Marvel. Fucking no. Doppelganger, what it was called. Don't get me started on the fucking Marvelverse. Not a big fan of those either. I know you like Marvel. Pockets likes Marvel.
Well, there's Marvel movies I like.
Like I said, if you can get enjoyment out of even some of those things, that's great. I'm not knocking you for it. But again, you'll never see Sabian be like, let's watch Endgame. And that's one of Pocket's favorite ones. And I'll watch it. She'll put it on. Again, I'll watch it because big punch make big boom, and big explosion make bright color, and bright color make Sabian watch shiny. But it's not because I'm watching it for like a good, laugh or anything like that. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, this I'll admit, like there are some Marvel things I like. I fucking love the Guardians of the Galaxy. We went to go watch a movie in the drive-in, and it was playing double movie. I think I've told this story before, but I don't remember what we were going to see because Guardians was on first, and I wasn't even interested in watching it, and I laughed through the entire fucking thing. I love the first two Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm very excited for the third one. But most things Marvel, Iron Man, very generic. Hulk, never been a fan of the Hulk movies. It just wasn't.
In the first one.
Captain America, I can't even tell you anything about any of the actual like standalone Captain America movies. I'm not a big superhero comic book guy.
Thing that they went
The
to
only comic book hero,
Captain America versus, Iron Man. That really made me upset. Like, why did you take my two favorite Marvel characters and put them together at oppositions of each other?
Because it happened in the comic books.
Screwing with my brain. Well, my dad let me get comics.
Only comic superhero that like I will watch. I've watched them all, and maybe you'll even see me. Hey, let's watch one of these. Is Spider-Man. I fucking love Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I liked the cartoon when I was younger. And again, I'm not a comic book guy. I never read the comics. But I loved the cartoon when I was younger. And I love the movies. I love the ones with Tobey Maguire. I love the ones with Tom Holland. And I love the ones with the guy that I can never fucking remember. I love them all. I like the games. I like Spider-Man versus Venom. Maximum Carnage, I have it. I'm not great at it. I still have it because I like to play it, good or not. Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, man, I rocked the shit out of that for like over a year. I love that game. Yeah, I'm a Spider-Man fan for sure. Only again, as Superman, I know the movies. That's about it.
I love the movies.
Batman, I used to watch Batman the Animated Series all the time as a kid.
I'm not the only one.
Was never a big fan of like Batman Beyond and stuff like that, but like the original Batman the Animated Series, that was good. I watched I think every single episode of Batman the Animated Series. Batman and Batman Returns with Michael Keaton. I grew up with those movies.
Oh yeah.
Batman, I think I got Batman and Bambi the same year. For Christmas, I was like 5. Absolutely love I had the trading cards. Batman Returns is my favorite Batman movie. Love Batman. That is my favorite Batman movie. Didn't like Batman Forever. Didn't like Batman and Robin. Was not a big fan of the Christian Bale movies. The Dark Knight was okay, but The Dark Knight Rises and the original one, Batman whatever, was Batman Begins. I did not like those. I didn't like them at all. I did not like the Christian Bale Batman movies. The Batman in the DC universe, Ben Affleck's Batman. I know everybody likes Ben Affleck as Batman, but I just see Ben Affleck. I can't take him seriously as Batman. It's it just feels like it was printed off of some kind of movie machine somewhere. It doesn't feel like fucking Batman. And the new Batman that came out, that was good. It was a new take on Batman. It wasn't bad. But again, it's no Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was the best fucking Batman. And the first 2 Batman movies, Batman and Batman Returns, man, those are fucking phenomenal. Even the Adam West shows were good. I used to actually watch those on like Nickelodeon. But obviously, they're way cheesy and stuff like that. So I mean, they were funny, they were okay. But again, it's not the Michael Keaton Batman. Those movies were fucking phenomenal. Those 2 Batman movies were absolutely fucking phenomenal. And Michael Keaton fucking nailed the role. Nailed it. Because Batman was supposed to be a bit nuts. Borderline schizophrenic.
Saw his parents die right in front of him.
They went a little bit heavy with that with the new Batman movie. Like, they made him really nuts. But I like how he had to be posh and normal and just some normal playboy millionaire by day. And, like, flip that switch. And you could see it sometimes when he had to, like, in the first one, you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. You see that flip with the mask off. I don't know. Those Batman movies were great. No, ratings say, and I've heard a lot of people defend, and Doughboy will be one of them, that Ben Affleck plays a good Batman. I just don't see it. I can't get into Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't know if the writing sucks, if his acting sucks, or if it's the fact that it's fucking Ben Affleck playing Batman. But I just can't get past it. The Dark Knight trilogy is fucking overrated. The third one is fucking stupid. Do not get me started. Listen, The Critical Drinker on YouTube did a fantastic review of The Dark Knight Rises, the third one, with Bane. Did a fantastic review of that movie. He says everything that I will say about that movie. So I'm going to save you all a 15-minute Sabian rant because Critical Drinker's already done it for me. But that movie's fucking ridiculous. Like, I'm going to plant a bomb in New York City and I'm going to set the timer for 6 months from now. 6 months. Blow up the bridges to the city because... And the government, the military, nobody comes into... Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going to break Batman's back and throw him in a hole in someplace I'm assuming is a different country and where no one can get out. Well, except for the one person who did get out. So somebody got out. It must be possible. But I'm going to put him there anyway because not watching Batman or anything is not going to come back to bite me in the ass. And good thing there was a massage therapist in that fucking hole that could do fucking back surgery by fucking putting a few bones back in. What the fuck was this movie? It was fucking stupid. It was stupid. The last one was stupid. And the first one was... You don't even fucking see Batman through 90% of the movie. Who the fuck has a monorail through fucking Gotham City that looks like it belongs in fucking Japan? And the whole movie was so dark, you couldn't see anything. It was abysmal. The colors for that movie. Let's do black and dark sepia tone. So, black and really, really dingy nicotine yellow. That's the colors for this movie. Unless Batman's fighting in the fucking snow. Not as Batman. That's the movie. No, those movies were fucking stupid. The only one that was okay was The Dark Knight. With Heath Ledger as the Joker. Because Heath Ledger is my second favorite. He did a good job as the Joker. Jack Nicholson will always be my favorite Joker. And again, I just think he fit the part, the role a lot better. But for what they were going for in The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger did a great job. And if it wasn't for him, that movie would have sucked too. He's the only good part about the movie. The rest of it was dumb. No, I'm not a big fan of those movies. The animated movies were good. I've seen a few of them. I don't think the ones from like 2012, the ones from like earlier that were spin-offs of the animated series, but they were good. I liked the animated movies. He used to rant. In this mode, it's the only thing that sustains him. Listen, those movies upset me. As like I said, I like Batman, I do. I even have the Batman game on the GameCube, and it's like the animated Batman, the animated series, the one I used to watch. It's a fucking game on the GameCube, and it's the Joker from the animated series, and it's the Batman from the animated series, and they're back to do their voice lines, and so are like all the other bad guys in it, like Poison Ivy and shit. Like, I love that game. It's such a nostalgia bomb going back and playing that game. I love that Batman game. But again, I am, though, really not a big superhero guy. I love Star Wars. Huge fan of Star Wars, except the sequel trilogy. Not a big fan of the sequel trilogy at all. Mostly other things. Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan's show left me feeling pretty unsatisfied as well. Love The Mandalorian. But I know a lot about Star Wars. And Pockets has actually gotten me into Star Trek over the years. There was a time growing up, I was not a Star Trek fan. Not at all. The only Star Trek I really liked, and I didn't watch them all or anything, but was the old show. With, like, the old television show with Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner. The show, not the movies. I liked the old show, because that was on, like, again, like Nickelodeon or HBO or whatever the hell I watched when I was little. I'd catch a couple episodes of it here and there. The Next Generation came out. I remember my father was so excited when Next Generation came out. We all sat down and watched the premiere. And my dad turned it off. Because the show was too political. It wasn't the same. And he's right, it wasn't the same. It was not the old show at all. And I did not get into it. I thought it was kind of dumb. Then Deep Space Nine came out. I still, to this day, and I like Star Trek. I love Star Trek now. To this day, I won't watch Deep Space Nine. That show was retarded. I'm sorry. Well, as that show was mentally handicapped. Then was Voyager. And again, I didn't get into Voyager, mostly because of it looked a lot like Next Generation, and it had some of the aliens and stuff from Deep Space Nine, and I didn't like it. And even now, the first 2 seasons of that show, not a fan. I'm really not. The show did not find its stride until 7 of 9 joined the show. And the last 5 years of that show, the last 5 seasons of that show, are actually really fucking good. But I didn't watch it back then. I've seen the new movies. I watched the old, it wasn't Discovery, it was the other one with the prototype one, and what the hell is that guy's name? He was the guy in Quantum Leap, was the captain. I watched that show, but it was supposed to lead up to like Kirk taking over the new Enterprise being built, and it never led up to that. I don't think it's because they never finished it. If I'm not mistaken, they only had 1 season. I will not watch Star Trek Discovery. I'm not watching that new animated shit either, the Below Decks or whatever. And I've seen the first season of Picard. I heard the second season was even worse, so I haven't watched it because the first season did not make me happy. But I've heard that the third season is really good. So I'm contemplating going back to Picard because I've heard that the new season's fucking awesome. Yeah, Star Trek Discovery is the new one I won't watch, Emily. But Picard, like I said, the first season, I liked parts of it. I liked that like they explained a little bit more and gave a little bit more of a memorial to Data than just the movie where he blew up at the last movie and that was it, end of Data. I like that they like kind of went a little bit further and gave us an actual like goodbye with the character. That was cool. And I liked seeing, like, you know, Picard and 7 of 9 interacting. But again, it was like, why should they be interacting? Some things just felt shoehorned. The writing didn't feel that great. And I heard the second season was fucking atrocious, so I didn't watch it. But now I guess the third season is really, really good and pays a lot of fan service. Beverly Crusher, Riker, Geordi, Worf, they're all back for the third season of Picard. And I guess, like, their storylines, they all, like, make sense. Why they're working together and everything. I guess it's supposed to be, like, really good, like, old Star Trek, like the way Star Trek used to be. I didn't get into Star Trek until actually maybe 5 years ago. And Pockets actually started putting on the old movies. And then I started putting on the old show to go to bed to. Not the old show, Next Generation. And I ended up staying up and watching episodes a lot. And ended up watching the entire series. And was like, wow, this actually is a lot better than I gave it credit for. So then I went back and watched all the old shows. I actually have the DVDs of the first season of the original Star Trek. So we watched all those. Pockets is not a fan of the old shows. I love the old shows. Like the originals. Then I tried Deep Space Nine. Again, I still couldn't stand it. I couldn't even get past the first episode. I turned it the fuck off. But then I did try Voyager. I muscled through. I don't know why, but I muscled through the first 2 seasons. I was not a big fan. It wasn't horrible. It just felt very generic. Like Generations with Kirk at the helm instead of Picard. That's what Janeway was. She was very much a Kirk captain. But again, when 7 of 9 joined the crew and they started tying in things from Generations, and I think the person who played Captain Janeway really started finding her stride with the character. It just got better. It really did. And Voyager actually turned out to probably be one of my favorite shows out of all of them. And then I became a Trekkie. I like the Star Trek movies, and the shows. And I haven't seen all the shows. I've seen most of them. I have seen every single one of the movies. And no, I don't know everything about Star Trek, and I don't like everything about Star Trek, but I know Star Trek pretty well, and that's thanks to my wife. Hello, Electrohead. Good morning. I did not see you come in because I've been ranting. I'm sorry. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette and then I'm gonna end the stream. I did not realize I've been doing this for an hour and 10 minutes. That's why my throat hurts. So you probably got about 5 minutes. I'll let it go to an hour and 15 minutes and then I'll close it out. So if there's anything you want to punch into the comments, now that I'm looking at the comments, I will go ahead and respond. I just wanted to give you that heads up. We used to say the same thing, Frank. Ew, Trekkies. Didn't like Trekkies. I thought Trekkies... I didn't get it. It's not that I didn't like Trekkies. I didn't understand. That my wife actually got me into them. Now I get it. Now I'm a fan of Star Wars and Star Trek. And yeah, if I had to choose, I'd still pick Star Wars. But again, I also think like comparing Star Wars to Star Trek is like comparing a dirt to a meteorite. Yeah, they're both rocks, but they're completely different. Or an apple to a piece of gravel. Yeah, they got some things in common. They're both small in, relative terms, depending on what you're using to judge size. But that's about it. Yeah, both shows or both series have something to do with being in outer space. And sometimes Star Wars and Star Trek are sometimes on different planets. So they have, I guess, some themes that are similar, but they're really two different things. I don't really like people they're like, oh, Star Wars or Star Trek. Like, you can like both. That's like saying, do you like Star Wars or Aliens? Dude, the Alien series is fucking great, except for the fucking Alien Covenant, and that I hated that movie. Still haven't seen that all the way through. I tried watching it now twice. Went back to try and watch it too. Fell asleep again. I can't get through that movie without falling asleep. And I hate how they fucking changed all the lore to everything. Alien versus Predator, I fucking hate them all. I hate the first one. I hate Requiem. I think they're fucking stupid. The aliens aren't supposed to be on Earth. That was kind of Ridley's whole point, hundreds of years in the future, if I'm not mistaken. The whole point of the first 3 Alien movies was Ridley trying to stop the aliens from getting to Earth, to be experimented on by the company and the military to be hopefully turned into weapons, which they would get loose and destroy the human population. She didn't want them to get to Earth. That was the whole fucking point. So Alien vs. Predator comes out, and it's set in hundreds of years before the first Alien movie, and lo and behold, there's already an alien here. It's on the planet. It's in Antarctica, giving out eggs. The predators go there. What? The predators go there to train. What? What is this movie? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And they fucking kill the canon. So Prometheus comes out and fucking ruins it further. Every movie that has come out since Alien Resurrection, everything alien-wise, has ruined the canon of the series. It's ruined it. I agree. Out of the Alien movies, not Alien versus Predator and stuff like that, but out of the Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection, I agree. Alien Resurrection is the worst of all of them. But I would watch Alien Resurrection over Alien vs. Predator or Alien vs. Predator Requiem any fucking day. Or Prometheus. Or Alien Covenant. I would take Alien Resurrection over any of those movies. I'd watch that movie on repeat without bathroom breaks than having or overtaking one of those other movies for an hour and a half of my life. Fuck that. Those movies were dumb. Yes, Alien Resurrection was the worst of the original 4 movies, but it's not the worst Alien movie to come out. There's no way. Alien Covenant was way worse. Bitrexual? Thank you very much, Somber. I'm bitrexual now. Yeah, I know. I've seen that. That's The Predator. And again, the first movie was great with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I fucking loved the first movie. Then there was Predator 2, which was nothing like the first one. It was okay. Had Gary Busey in it and shit. I don't know. Was not Predator. It was definitely a much lower budget sequel. And again, it was like they took everything that was great about the first movie and cut it out and just made a second movie off of the filler stuff that was just like kind of put it up there with the rest of things, but didn't put in there what made the first one fucking exemplary. That's what pisses me off. But even the second Predator movie is way fucking better than Predator versus Aliens or The Predator or even Predators. I would watch Predator 2 over Predators or The Predator or anything else Predator except the very first Predator. Though I will say, the new one, Prey, on I think it's Netflix or one of the... It just came out. The new one with the Native Americans and whatnot. I thought that was going to be fucking stupid. That was good. That was actually a really good movie. I would take that over anything after Predator 2. 100%. Hulu, thank you. It was on Hulu. Sorry, I have so many fucking streaming services. But yes, the Hulu. And I liked it. That was good. Just like I liked the new Hellraiser movie. I wasn't sure. I went into that very skeptical. Very skeptical. Man, I liked it. That was good. That was the best Hellraiser I've seen since maybe Hellraiser 4. And I liked Hellraiser 4 and 5. A lot of people didn't like Bloodlines. A lot of people didn't like Inferno. I liked Inferno. It was the first one of them where the guy was already in hell. Then every other movie where they did that, it became stupid. 6 was like 5, 7, and 8. It was dumb. I didn't like how in 6 they brought back Kirsty Cotton and she was used in like 2 minor sequences in the fucking movie because you're focusing on the other guy the whole fucking time. What's the point of bringing back the main actress from the first 2 movies if you're not even going to have her in the fucking movie? I don't understand it. And then, I don't know, Hellraiser Revelations, I liked that. Doughboy didn't. He didn't like the Pinhead. It was a different Pinhead, yeah, but I don't know. I liked that one. And I liked God, what's that other one? With the Hell House. And they're like, you know, the interrogator in the house and they're processing people's sins and Deader. No, it's not Deader. No, I didn't like Deader. It's not Deader. Judgment. Hellraiser Judgment. That one. I liked that. That was a good movie. But honestly, the new one, probably the best Hellraiser movie I've seen since Part 4. I don't think I've played the video game Hellraiser, or even seen it. Sounds interesting, but I like the Hellraiser movies. I do, and they're not like my favorite movie series, but I liked them. And I finally actually sat down and listened to an audio telling of The Hellbound Heart this past October. And I made sure to listen to The Hellbound Heart because I'd never actually read it or listened to it before. And I liked it. Could really see the differences from the movie to that, and you could really see what they used and what they didn't, and the direction they were trying to go with it. And it also explained some things in the movie a little bit more. So I don't know. I liked that. That's a good story. If you haven't read or listened to The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, I very, very, very much suggest that you do, especially if you like the Hellraiser movies. Pumpkinhead. I love Pumpkinhead. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the first 2 movies. I wasn't a big fan of like the 3rd and the 4th one that were made from sci-fi. They're not horrible, but they're definitely sci-fi movies. But the first 2 Pumpkinheads are pretty good. I love the first one. First one's great. First one's a classic. Pockets got me. Again, those were movies I didn't see when I was younger. Pockets got me into Pumpkinhead. So another one I gotta give props to my wife too. So that's awesome. Fuzzy's got the book. Kick-ass leader. Pumpkinhead rules. Long live Pumpkinhead. But alright, everybody. My throat is sore, and before I stumble across something else that I feel I must rant about and use all my passion towards, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream before my voice starts giving out on me. I love you all. Thank you so much for coming in today and just listening to me go on and on and on about anything. Love you guys. I hope to see you this coming Saturday. Confronting Evil, Season 2, Episode 6, The Misadventures of Sue Cash and Huckleberry Bruce premieres this Saturday. So, new Confronting Evil this weekend, and I'm excited for it. So, love you all. Hope you have a fantastic day. Try and enjoy your Sunday. Back to, most of us anyways, back to slavery tomorrow and the rest of the week. And then, the weekend comes, though. You can't stop that fucking clock from rolling. So, love you guys. Have a fantastic day. And stay safe and stay creepy. Peace out. Yo.